Something to note out there. All right, so finally HDFC Bank is picking up, Aisha. It was just early trades of 2.5. Now as we are settling in, we are closer to 3.5, 4, which you were expecting after reading the ADR. But coming back to Federal Bank, what is noteworthy over there is the deposit growth. Just like some other smaller banks actually are posting very strong deposit growth of closer to 20%. Even Federal Bank has come out and the deposit growth is matching up with the advances growth. So that is the issue. The very good numbers coming in on advances and deposits, because deposits are the raw material, and until unless they grow as much as the loan growth or disbursement, there is no growth issue, and Federal Bank is posting very good numbers. So let's check Federal Bank. So some of these smaller banks, Yes Bank, in fact your RBL Bank, Nuresh, has also come back. Can you do a chart check for us? Out of these three, which one looks the strongest to you?
So in terms of relative strength, Federal Bank has always been the one which has continued to be the first one to hit new all-time highs in the mid-cap and the small-cap banking space. RBL Bank has now started coming into back into the normalcy after that huge correction in 2019-20. The stock went all the way down below COVID levels also in 2022. But now we are seeing a structural change out here. In the short run, if you see for the last many weeks, it has made multiple tops around the 270 mark. So if it sustains about 270, that would be a breakout. So a lot of these banks which took a very large hit have started looking better on charts. So even a City Union Bank, which went through a massive downturn post-COVID, has now started hitting new 52-week highs. So seems like the whole banking space is interesting, whether it is the largest like HDFC Bank hitting all-time highs or a trend change in the small cap name. So the preference remains Federal Bank, RBL Bank, and say maybe a bottoming out in IDFC first.
Okay, that's a bunch of names. By the way, a couple of block deals, not just on HDFC Bank, which has seen about 20 lakh shares trade at that, and the stock has now perked up a good 3.5%. But I think there's been a block deal on IREDA as well. 14 lakh shares traded on IREDA. That stock as well has jumped up now 3.5%, 200 plus levels is what you're seeing on this stock. But Kunal, let's revisit your stance on the Nifty Bank. Do you think we could replicate a day like yesterday, wherein HDFC Bank was the solo performer and rest of the banking counters were beaten down?
Well, maybe not all of the banking names, but I think few of the banking stocks are definitely showing signs of sluggishness. So whether you look at larger cap names like SPI, it's unable to break past about the 850, 860 mark with a lot of volumes. The stock is just about trying to face a lot of resistance at this 850, 860 zone. Axis Bank also, I think, has been facing a lot of hurdle. You've seen IndusInd Bank somehow over the last, I think, 3 or 4 days being one of the weaker private sector banking names other than Kotak Bank, where these stocks have corrected by a margin of, I think, 5% broadly. So I think what we've seen is that the participation, which was very strong, or a comeback which was very strong from the private sector banking names, that's now getting a lot more staggered, and you're not seeing all-out participation from large cap banking names. And I think that's the concern for the Bank Nifty. So for the Bank Nifty to move up higher, we want the constituents to have a broader participation rather than the onus on just one heavyweight stock which could lead the baton forward. So I would probably believe in that sense, maybe the Bank Nifty could keep on facing a lot of resistance on the way up if there is no major participation or comeback from the other names other than HDFC Bank.
Okay,
if you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.